Welcome to VaynerBox on Bambi Francisco. Well, we've come a long way from static online catalogs to collaborative filtering to help us buy stuff online. Increasingly, consumers enjoy getting shopping suggestions from social shopping sites like ThisNext. Well, ThisNext is the company we highlight today, and joining me as my guest host is Erik Stuart. He is the Director of Corporate Strategy at eBay, and with us, as always, is Ezra Roizen. He's a digital media investment banker and our VaynerBox regular. Thanks, guys, for being here. So let's get started by watching ThisNext video pitch. I think Gordon Gould is co-founder, and he's giving the pitch.
I'm Gordon Gould. I'm the founder and CEO of ThisNext.com. We're all about social shopping for the social web. And so what that really means is that our mandate and our mission is to help people discover great new products. And those products might be toys for kids. They might be like food, wine, and beer. They might be mountain biking equipment. They might be stuff for interior design like wall decals, like products across a wide gamut. And there's a lot of great stuff out there to buy, but you have to figure out like what it is you want to get. And so how do we enable social shopping? So raise your hand here. Who here has ever given or gotten a product recommendation from a friend? Who here has ever gone into a store and bought something they didn't expect to buy? All right, very widespread behaviors. And so pretty much everybody does those things. And what we're doing at ThisNext is we're capturing and structuring those behaviors.
Okay, social shopping, big category, an area of great interest to me. There's lots of interesting innovation happening in how you recommend products. And I think it comes down to how people discover products. Whichever way you want to look at it, there are new and creative ways about looking at content, looking at recommendation, looking at crowdsourcing opinion. You know, you look at everything from Yelp as a recommendation engine through to aggregate knowledge as a recommendation engine through to Wise and lots of other folks who are taking creative approaches for how people learn and discover products. And this one is really interesting because you essentially they're building around individual product recommenders. They're basically saying these people are the ones that we think have great insight into which products are better than others, and then essentially building those people up and refining, you know, the quality ranking or so on of how these people are thought of in the community. So I think it's an interesting model. I actually went on the site and found it relatively easy to use. But I think at the same time it comes down to will they be able to attract a large number of people to basically follow their star mavens and choose products from, you know, with that guide. And then there are lots of other competing guides coming on to the internet.
Right. Social shopping is an important space, and it's a space that people have been talking a lot about for the last 2 to 3 years. Unfortunately, so far, it's one of those spaces that has had a pretty high, I guess I would say, buzz to progress ratio. So I think it's been recognized for a while that e-commerce is one of the spaces where I'd say innovation in the last few years has been lower than in other sectors of the consumer internet. And social shopping to some degree has been viewed as kind of it's going to be the next big thing. But I'll say personally, I've seen a lot of startups in this space, broadly defined. I have not yet seen one that I find strongly compelling from a product and a business point of view. Now, given that I've seen lots of startups, none of which I think have quite found the magic bullet in this space, ThisNext is pretty good at what they've chosen to do. You said their product is nice and easy to use. I agree. Given that they are basing it around individual product recommenders, I think that the quality of their destination is pretty good. The biggest question in my mind is this, namely a community where you get recommendations from other people, something that is going to resonate with a large number of consumers? Their traffic so far, it's not terrible, but it's not setting the world on fire. And kind of the revenue that they get on a per user basis isn't going to be huge given the way they've set up their site up. They're going to need a very large number of users in order to get a lot of business success, and they haven't demonstrated it yet.
Or be in a category which is like, cars or some huge transaction amount where they can make a small number of users turn into a large number of dollars. I guess I have even a paradigm question that takes a step back from where you even place these kinds of companies. And I think that, to me, the question becomes, are these really destination sites? Is the market going to support innumerable middle and small e-commerce destinations around specific kinds of ways of picking? And are the consumers even really going to know the difference between style A and style B and style C and how to pick a product? Or are these actually going to be essentially content companies that feed into Amazon and other places where they want to refine the recommendation engine. So is it going to be an Amazon that looks at this company and says, or an eBay or somebody else that has essentially shopping and e-commerce, is going to look at it and say, this one has a really good model for finding the best product.
Right.
I'm going to use this content from this community and then pull it in and basically do the transaction on my site.
Right.
Because people are never going to go there.
Well, Hearst clearly believes that it's that type of model that is an adjunct to what they're doing at
Right.
Caboodle for $30 million. And it makes some sense.
Right.
It's content, right? And it creates a sort of context around purchases. And Hearst is all about trying to create context and content, and we're moving toward that direction where advertising now is not separate from content. Advertising is content in and of itself. So this can be, if you can contextualize the ad on your site through these reviews, which is what you're getting, reviews and recommendations, it becomes sort of an additional revenue model for a media property like Hearst.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, I think you framed the kind of the choice pretty well. Can you build a destination, or do you want to build something a company that's going to distribute its content and its services?
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is, as you pointed out, it's hard to build a destination.
Right.
The problem with the distribution play is that it's hard to make a lot of money from that.
Right.
You tend to make much higher margins as a destination.
Mm-hmm.
So you could serve as a distributed service to an eBay or an Amazon, but you're not going to make as much money unless you can find an exit. Now, the problem with the exit piece is that this is not a company that has super hard to replicate back-end technology. Their product's pretty good, but it's not a genius algorithm that's going to be difficult to figure out. So the valuation isn't going to be sky high, because you're basically looking at a small to medium community plus some nice products that they've built, but not kind of magic IP.
Not that this is going to help them at all, but when I was reviewing the site, I felt as though I was walking down some sort of neighborhood store and finding these boutiques. These boutiques that create eclectic merchandise, and like I found Laura's Sweet, her profile, and she was selling Buddha candles and iPhone icons. It just, when you walk down a neighborhood main street, and you walk into a little...
In like Telegraph Avenue or Greenwich Village,
yeah. Like you have this person who's collected all this merchandise, and you tend to go back to that person because you know that they're going to have good merchandise for you to sell. And not that this has anything to do with how to create a business model for them, but that's what I got when I looked through the site, that they were creating all these emerging merchandisers, small merchandisers, but I'm not quite sure what the model is for them.
Yeah, there's some discussion, when we talk about social shopping, about where, in what subspace is the compelling model going to come from? Mm-hmm. Is it going to be some sort of recommendations from your friends like ThisNext is? Is it going to be some sort of automated recommendation process similar to what Amazon does, or a Netflix, or a Stumble Upon for products, or something like that? Is it going to be something that's more around wish lists and kind of displaying the products that you like? I mean, there's a bunch of different ways that people have tried to slice this space. Again, nothing has quite gotten there yet, where it's going to be mass market appeal.
Who creates their wish list? Amazon.
Right.
So such a long time ago. So I guess this is advice for the company.
I think that they have to navigate between. And they have to decide, are they going to be a destination site? Are they going to build a destination site strategy, in which case they got to get out there. They got to get widget strategy, they got to get distribution. They really got to get out there in a big way and drive traffic. Mm-hmm. Or are they going to do some other kind of content approach, or some, maybe there's a hybrid in the middle, but are they going to do some other kind of approach, which is taking these great recommendations and applying them to other people who can basically create sort of the zillions of Oprah's lists around here's the best products, or here's the best things in this category, based on somehow the ThisNext brand becoming something that means something in the market. So I mean, those are thoughts. I think that it is a tricky strategy, not an easy one, but at the same time, I actually liked using the sites. I think that's a great start.
So would this be something to augment eBay's services?
Probably not, given where it is today. I'd give a thought as to what I would do if I were involved with this company. I would probably scale back my expectations a little bit, and I would try to find a way to do really, really well in some shopping niche. That could be high fashion, it could be hot consumer electronics. I would pick something and start to design my community more specifically around that niche. I might bring in expert content providers, something like that, and say, look, what I'm going to be is I'm going to dominate this particular sub-vertical and create a community around that. Now, the downside is you're limiting your upside.
Yeah, but Zappos, you could say, limited its upside is a phenomenal.
But they're a retailer, and it's going to be a different model. So, I mean, I think the chances of them being a billion-dollar company is small, but I think if they focus themselves, could they be a $100 million company? Maybe. I think they'd have a shot.
Okay, great advice, Erik. Thank you for your advice, your insight, as always, and as always, thank you for being with us. And Erik, you're going to join us for 2 other segments, so stick around. You've been watching VaynerBox. I'm Bambi Francisco. We'll see you next time on Vader TV.